We're talking about the pay, stay, refer patient. Now, I want people to understand, and assistants and chiropractors as well, that this pay, stay, refer practice and pay, stay, refer patient, it's not a personality. It's not a type of person that does this. It's all people, but we have to encourage this and we have to educate them, just like everything else I teach you. We have to really help the patients when they come in. Again, establishing that initial relationship is absolutely, day one when a patient comes in, and I'll talk about this in predisposing patients, but the pay, stay, refer patient is that's somebody who started to come with us. They never phoned us. Trust me, all the years I've worked, nobody ever phoned the practice and said to me, hey, I'd like to make an appointment and I want to pay, stay, and refer all my friends and family. That doesn't happen, okay? They come for themselves. Patients make an appointment for themselves, for their own needs and concerns. And I believe that addressing that particular patient and helping them to achieve their best health goals, then it will be an automatic referral, pay, stay, refer, okay? It's not that simple. It sounds simple. Just saying it is simple, but doing it is what we need to do. And again, I think that helping that patient, each patient, accomplish the goals that they set out for when they first came to us, that does give them the automatic want for their family and friends if we did our job right, if we educated them properly. And I think that most practices that I go into and most practices that I talk to, they have a very small percentage of pay, stay, refer patients, right? That kind of category. We have patients that will, pay and stay, or we have patients that will pay and not stay, or, we have patients that are great, pay, stay, keep on schedule, and never refer people. So there's all these different types of sort of patients that we have that come through the door. But I believe that establishing, a set criteria of how we educate a patient and how we take them through their care, we instill in them what chiropractic is and how it actually works. That it is not just a pain relief and symptom based, it is for maintenance and maintaining a healthy spine and good health. It's a way of living, it's a lifestyle. So having that kind of conversation all the time in the practice with all the patients is extremely important. And again, I've said this before, you may be talking to one patient on the phone or one patient at the front desk, but so long as there's patients in the office, everybody's hearing what you're saying. So our words are important, how we talk. And we should always be trying to promote that it's not symptom based and it's not pain relief, and it's much more, right? Also, we talked about generating income in the practice and, sort of letting patients know what it is, all the services that you provide, but also what chiropractic does. And I've had patients, no lie, that it has shocked me that, they would, again, see children coming in and going in. I make a point of saying, come on, it's time for your adjustment when I take the kids in, because I want everybody in the waiting room and everybody else to hear me say these kids are being adjusted, because I'm promoting that this is a preventative care chiropractic. It's prevention as well. So that's also part of educating your patients that everybody gets adjusted. Chiropractic benefits all people for all different reasons, and for maintenance and well-being and a healthy lifestyle, right? So I think that's so important. And I know that a lot of times we can very easily get caught up with a particular like each patient talking to us about their own care, because patients will come to us with, every excuse in the book of why, if they can't keep one, or, all these things, right? We've been through this. So even though we face that every day and we hear that like throughout the day, different reasons, different excuses why people can't keep that appointment or this appointment or what have you. We still have to maintain what we do and why we do it. We still have to maintain that attitude that chiropractic is for everybody, and chiropractic is prevention, and it's a lifestyle. So keeping that in mind and promoting it every day in your practice is important. Definitely letting your patients also know, like I had talked about, again, income in the practice, but almost placement of your, chiropractic for kids, seniors, athletes, promoting things like that. Like if you have that board, make sure that's out there. It starts that conversation. Or, doing a seasonal one and showing people that it is important that we don't sit there and just become a receptionist booking an appointment, okay, and processing a payment. That we're very much part of educating patients that, again, chiropractic is a lifestyle. So we are establishing that, yes, you come in, you follow your schedule of care, very much part of all of this, is that speaking in those terms, that your schedule of care. A lot of times we say, next appointment, your next appointment. I do it too. I will say to a patient, all right, let's get your next appointment booked. But I recognize that using the words like, well, your schedule of care is, or Dr. Chiropractic has recommended, like starting to use those terms constantly over and over again and getting in the habit of speaking that way, it will affect your practice, and it will affect how your patients think what your practice is, right? So if all your patients, all they ever see is they walk in, get their adjustment, make their payment and leave, that's all they know. That's all they know. And that's fine. That's okay too. But it's really, really important that we educate always that chiropractic is for everybody. And I'm going to do a big course on referrals, like how to get referrals. But I want to establish this because if you want to have a pay, stay, refer practice, then you have to act that way. You have to expect that from your patients, that they will pay, they will stay, and they will refer. Now, most people will refer their immediate family, right? That's who they're usually going to bring in. And that's the best. I mean, if I have one patient in my practice that comes to us, a new patient, I expect them to refer their mother, father, spouse, children. I expect it. I mean, I don't put that on the patient, but in my mind, I already expect that. Like that one patient is many more to me. And if I do my job right and I explain to them the benefits of chiropractic care for everyone and how it works and how it prevents and how it can change your lifestyle and how you live, excuse me, then I believe they're automatically going to say, I got to tell my mom, I got to tell my brother, So that's why we do it. And even if you're not getting those referrals from them, that should still be our conversation all the time. It should always be our conversation all the time in the practice. And I think that asking for referrals, I know a lot of assistants, it's like the recalls, the care calls, it's such a hard thing to wrap your head around, again, because you feel like you're trying to convince or you're trying to persuade. But listen, we all know that our patients talk about their family, their work, and their friends, mostly, when they're with us. They will always have a conversation with us about that. And they will always tell us their issues. If it's their work, we'll say, well, that's the work you do, and that's why this happens, and that's why this, and this is why you get adjusted to prevent that from happening. I mean, you can't quit your job. So again, it's the words I'm using to explain to the patient, again, about their care, that they're smart enough to put it together to say, hey, the guy I work with, well, he does the same job as me, and this is why I'm coming, and this is why I do it. And even if they don't run out the door right away and go to work and say to all their colleagues, hey, you guys need to see a chiropractor because this is what they just told me. Even if that doesn't happen, then at the very least, when one of their colleagues or coworkers or somebody will say the same kind of thing to them, they're going to say, I go to a chiropractor. This is why I go. And this is what they told me. They have that information, right? We have to educate our patients. They don't know what we know. We can't assume people know what we already know. no matter how long we've been doing it, right? So also, especially even with new patients that come to us that come from other practices, I mean, we don't know what they've been taught about chiropractic. I've had lots of patients come into the practice who've seen chiropractors in the past and maybe even regularly that came to my particular practice that I taught them something new that they did not know that, or they weren't told that. So you can never count on the fact that when you book an appointment for a patient that they say, I've seen a chiropractic before, that they understand everything about chiropractic. We don't know that. We just don't. Assume they don't, and continue to treat them the exact same way you would all your other patients. You know, we have to treat everybody the same. And I think that it's not scripty. This isn't something we script. It's just, it's how we should be communicating at all times in the practice, is talking chiropractic, talking the benefits of chiropractic, talking about and promoting how it can help so many other people and for so many other reasons, right? That's where your referrals come from, when they understand that. Okay. I've had patients come in with their family, with their kids, and I'm going to talk a little bit about getting that referral. And when they bring their kids with them, if they say, well, I have to bring the kids with me that day, is that okay? Of course it's okay. We're a family-friendly chiropractic practice. You can bring them on in. Kids come here to be adjusted. I immediately realized this person doesn't realize that kids are adjusted. They think it's not a place for kids. And I'm like, we have lots of kids that get adjusted, families that come in. That's my opening to let that person know the kids get adjusted, right? I also will do, like I said, I'm going to do a thing on doing referrals. Listen, I can get a referral. I get referrals at the grocery store. I don't even, strangers, at the convenience store, at the gas station. The kid who pumped my gas all this winter, I was like, you need to see a chiropractor. So it's just about me believing in chiropractic care and knowing all that it can do, that I honestly feel like I'm sharing the information and knowledge I have about it. I don't feel like I'm pushing people. I don't force them. I don't say, you know, got to bring your spouse in here, anything like that. There are times if I hear a patient talking a little bit about, their spouse, they're always complaining about this or that. I will then say to them, why don't you just bring them with you one day? Let them just see what we do. Let them meet Dr. Chiropractic. Just, bring them on in. There's no charge. Just let them get the lay of the land. We're here for them. But I never push that, because people have, obviously, people have much better success rate when they make that decision themselves, right? No matter what we're doing, if we come to terms with something and we make up our own minds, we always have a better success with it. So pushing or selling, I don't do anything like that. Okay. But the first thing, we need to teach people to pay. And then we need to teach them to stay, which is the biggest job, right? Teaching them to stay consistent and working with them on that. And then we need to teach them to refer. It's the exact same thing. Nobody comes in and thinks it's for free. Nobody walks in and thinks, will assume that they don't need another appointment. Not on our watch, because we've already established it all with them. And that's how we talk. They know they need to continue their care. So we need to do the same thing with referrals. But also, I think the pay-stay refer practice absolutely requires it to be efficient, time efficient for people. We have to prove to that original patient how great it is, how well it works, and how great we are. Those are the things we need to show that each patient for them to refer. Okay. And so also, again, is having affordable fees for, if you want families and pay-stay refer. We've said this before, that you have to have family rates. You have to have maybe spouse rates, first adult, second adult. Like, I know chiropractic offices that would give out gifts and things for referrals. They used to do that, like referral incentives, right? I would rather just, it's been more successful to me to have an incentive for them to bring their entire, 5-member family in, if I will sort of give incentive on their fees. That's a much better way. And like I said, let's say it's a $40 visit and it's myself. $40 I go in and pay. If I bring my spouse in, then it's 35. I'm just saying these numbers. I'm using 40. I don't want anybody to say $35. I'm just using it as a example. $35 for my spouse, $35 for any of my kids that are high school and up, $35 for a senior, and $30 for children. Anybody under high and not in high school, $30, and for babies. So those are incentives for people to refer and bring their family members in. Okay. And then also I've talked about the prepayments. That's incentive to prepay their 12 visits. That's going to ensure they're going to stay. But it's also a financial incentive as well that I'm sure and certain would make it easier for them to refer other people in their family. But not just that, tell other friends, hey, my doctor's done this. Again, we've talked about this, that doing those sorts of things, you're going to get those referrals. But again, the most important thing we can do is the stay of our own patients. We can get them to pay, but it's about us really keeping our patients on their schedule of care and staying. Okay. So you can kind of get the idea of how, the initial visit's so important, what we say, about I'm going to give you a call if you're missing your appointments, how important the schedule of care is, educating patients about their schedule of care, about us calling our patients to keep them on that schedule of care. So those things, those that we talked about care calls last week, that's why they're so important. The schedule of care and the care call is still about educating and keeping people on track. And I personally have seen, and I believe, and I know for sure that when you have that type of patient, the pay stay, then you're going to get the refer. It's not a hardship to get referrals. I do zero marketing in practices. Other than social media, have a social media if you have to. I mean, you got to maintain those things and you got to stay up on them. And I've seen lots of social media that is just like a picture, a meme once in a while. I mean, listen, that's great. That's fine. Have a good website. Have a very good website. And that's as far as I will go with really a bunch of marketing. Other than I've suggested to a lot of doctors that I think the best thing I've ever seen or done is if it's a new chiropractor, trying to start up and get more patients or a new associate, is to sponsor a juvenile type sports team, in your immediate area, in your neighborhood, because and offering them care through their season, but only through their season. Okay. And then, when you have kids who are athletes, parents love to support their kids in their sports, right? So if you've got kids who are athletes, I'll just say this quickly, then, and they're coming in for their adjustments and they're feeling fantastic. You've just got people in the door. You just got the parents in the door now that should be adjusted as well, because you're educating them on why their children are coming. And then when the season is over, you don't continue to you're not sponsoring that particular player anymore. They're going to continue their care with you. They're not going to stop coming, especially the kids. The kids love to be adjusted because kids understand. And never assuming, I've had doctors that would say to me sometimes, come out with a new patient and come to the desk and look at me and say, they really get it. They get it. When they've explained to them, listen, I don't believe patients get it until they do it. They may understand at that moment in time when that chiropractor is explaining it to them, but that does not mean they get it. They have to do it to get it. And once they actually go through their care of initial, corrective, and maintenance, then they get it. Then they get it, the whole picture. But no patient gets exactly what's going to happen in chiropractic, on the first visit or second visit. They just don't. It takes so much longer. It takes all that education and for them to go through their full schedule of care to get to maintenance and maintaining it and then keeping that up. Then they get it. Then they finally get it. So it's really about creating that patient. The patient you have, creating them for the stay and the corrective and the maintenance is where you're going to get all of your referrals. They'll just come, I promise you, if you put the work into that, the stay in the middle, the pay, stay, refer. That's what you have to do. So just for the moment, does anybody have a question on what I'm saying at all? Understanding their own care for them to be able to go ahead and refer somebody to the practice because they understand chiropractic. So that's our number one, goal, is to educate patients in chiropractic, all that it can do, all its benefits, how safe it is, all the people that benefit from it. And that's where their mind is open to who they could refer to us, right? And again, the families, but the pre-bookings, I'm going to talk about the pre-bookings for to accomplish that stay. The prepayment plan, the 12 visits, whatever your fees are, offering that again has been so successful as far as maintaining the patient's schedule of care, because you are going to hit that progress exam, re-exam every 12 visits. And again, re-exam and progress exams are so important to the patient. And they're important to us as an educational tool to, again, take the opportunity to explain to the patient, remember you were here and now we did this and we said we were going to have this exam and now you're here and now you only have to come this many. Again, we're instilling that idea in the patient that we know what we're talking about. This is how it works and you're doing great and you're moving along. And it's not forever because financial is such a huge part of it. So we have to be able to say to the patient, this is not forever. And here's how we can support you. We have these options for you. And this is what we have to do, everything we can to support the patient to continue their care. I would love to sit back and say, hey, do it or don't. I don't really care. Do it or don't. But I feel compelled personally to ensure that people get the care they need and that they understand and they have all the tools, at their disposal to make good decisions for themselves. That's what I believe in. I think I told you guys, I had a patient once who, was complaining and saying, I can't keep doing this. I can't afford it. It's not working. It's not working. And he was saying this to another assistant. And I took his file and I went through it and I saw that he canceled, skipped, rescheduled, missed all these things in his schedule. And I went right into that room with him and I said, listen to me. I didn't do this to you. Okay. We didn't make this happen to you. You came into us like this. And this is how it's going to work. And I'm sorry for your financial hardship. I totally understand it. But you need to understand that this is going to work and this does work. And you did not work. You didn't attend. You didn't take the doctor's recommendations. I show it to them. I'm like, so you cannot say it doesn't work. I don't know what else to tell you. It works, but you have to do it. And you can leave if you want. You can cancel your appointments and stop coming, but you will not leave this practice without knowing that chiropractic works because it was important to me. I don't want a bad comment either. As much as I don't want people leaving the practice saying chiropractic doesn't work, because they don't understand that they didn't fulfill their recommendations. I also, the same side of it, as much as I don't want that, I definitely want people to walk out and say, I really understand what they're explaining to me. And this is what's going on in my care. That is such a better referral and an easier referral for them to say to another friend, a coworker, other people. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's how you get the referrals, but you've got to work on your stay. We can get the pay. We got to get the stay. And when you get the stay, the referral is going to come. But again, I would definitely say, make sure you're promoting in your practice all the chiropractic can do. I know we all have pamphlets and handouts and such like that, but you've got to get those out in front of the patients so they're looking at it. They can see it. Place those in your waiting rooms. Place that in your waiting room and your adjusting room and at your front desk. You want to show all that it can do, but you can't have a million pamphlets. I know some doctors that do, but it should be our conversation. We need to find those ways to have that conversation as well, to understand that chiropractic is for everybody. It works, and this is how it works. You know, if you're not familiar with all the way it works, again, your chiropractor should be able to explain a lot to you. But again, take those pamphlets. I did take certain pamphlets and read them so that you understand yourself how that would work. Like, if you don't understand why it's good for kids, I mean, we can all say, well, it's prevention and it's maintaining a healthy spine. It's helping, the nervous system. We know all those things, but you can also know reasons the kids come in, like some of the reasons. And, we have, when people bring their children and babies in with colic, we have, ear infection, we have bedwetting, we have like allergies, we have there's so many different reasons why patients come to us, but make sure you understand and you know that as well, so that if a patient can say to you, why does that baby get adjusted? Now, you're not going to give the baby's health history to a stranger, but you can say, we have lots of children that come to us for many reasons, and here's the reasons they come to us, because it does help with that, right? I guarantee you, I can't tell you the number of grandmas that I've talked to that go, and they immediately start thinking about their grandkids. And grandmas are a force, because they will get those children in there with or without the parents. I have a lot of grandparents that bring the grandkids, for the parents. They really do. So, yeah, and we have to assist them again to make it easier for them to come in. And best thing I can say is we always have to be on our A game. We always have to bring our A game every day when we go into the practice. And we have to be, excited and ready to promote what it is we do and have that talk with the patients. And we have to find it. I know that the past, 2 years have been a lot of different conversations, but I spoke about that before, that it's up to us to change that narrative. We have to stop talking that talk. People come to the practice for care, for wellness and chiropractic care. And we have to just provide that to them and give them that space, that this is who we are. It has to be, again, a very professional setting, that this is what we provide. And that will turn the tides of, not having I think about the last 2 years, all the conversations that have been about, the pandemic and all these things, that we all know. I don't even want to talk about them. I don't even want to list them because I don't want to say them, but I think about the past 2 years, all the opportunity missed of, educating patients about chiropractic care instead, and still continuing the practices and keeping people going. And I think that's why the practices that I was in were successful, because we kept doing what it is we do. And we kept talking to each patient about wellness and prevention and all the things that they could do to stay well instead. You know what I mean? So it's not a huge seminar, because it's so basic to me that the pay, stay, refer patient is created, right? They don't call up again, and it's not a personality again. It's a category of person. But and like I said, we've got these categories of people. They pay, they stay, but they don't refer. They pay, they don't stay. We have all these types of people, but we have to create the pay, stay, refer, the pay, stay, refer, the pay, stay, refer. And again, the asking for referrals and things like that, you don't have to force it. I believe I would rather you concentrating on educating the patient in your office with everything that they should know about their own well-being and what chiropractic can do for them, than worrying about, hey, does your mother want to come with you? Does your spouse want to come with you? You don't have to do that. But like I said, keeping your ears open. When a patient talks to you about their children or somebody in their family or coworker that is going through something as well, or says any comment, I always say, well, chiropractic could help them with that. If they thought about seeing a chiropractor, you could give them our card. They could do a consultation for 15 minutes with us. That, again, opens the conversation to that patient that, it's about wellness. And, I just repeat it over and over and over and over and over again. Like nothing changes really about what I say because I'm just telling the truth to every single patient. And I feel it's important that they know, they understand, whether they stay with us or not. But I believe doing that, I have had a very, very easy time of having pay, stay, refer people because they're our best advertisement. Doing a great job with them is our best advertisement, right? Somebody sees a great movie, they tell people the next day. So if they have a great experience in our practice and they have the tools and understanding of all that we can do for people, they're going to tell other people because now they know. Now they definitely know. So no questions, not a thing. You guys know everything. I want you to really understand the connection with everything from that initial visit. Next weekend, we're going to talk about predisposing patients, which is much bigger. And it's going to, maybe I should have did the pay, stay, refer after, but I really wanted to talk to chiropractors. I was hoping that that's what would get them on here so I could explain to them, what they need to focus on with patients as well. Because this is what everybody wants. Everybody wants lots of new patients. They want pay, stay, refer. That's the idea of practice. Tons of new patients and pay, stay, refer patients. That's the dream. That's the goal for everybody. It's not that hard to get. I know that over the years when I would attend different conferences and different things, and people talked a lot about these sorts of things, like attracting new patients and referrals and pay, stay, refer. It was like a mystery. It was like a big mystery, and a formula to try to get. But I've realized over the years from, like I said, all this time and doing what I've done and trying different things and learning different things. From the success I've had, I look at it and I'm like, this is what we did right. This is how we did it. Things ran smoothly. Things ran easy. People referred, people paid, people stayed, people brought their whole families in because these are the things I did. This is what we did as a team and we all did it. And that's what you think about, you bring about. So when you're focused on that, that's what you're going to have. But you do have to you can't just you can't just sit there and say, I want that, and it happens. You have to say, here's what I want, here's what I'm going to put my attention to. And this is going to be my number one focus, is educating patients into the reasons why they come. I'm going to get them to stay with us. And then I'm going to have them bring in their families and their friends. And then when new patients come in, I'm going to be ready to go to say, hey, how are you? This is what we do here. This is chiropractic. And then I'm going to take them through their care, through their pain relief, their initial, their corrective. I'm going to care for them through that, and then they're going to, throughout that care, you're going to get the referrals because you're really there supporting them. And they're going to tell people about you and how great you are and how much you've done for them. And they have the words to articulate that to people now because you've done a great job of educating them. Honestly, guys, that's it. Because you know what? I don't want to spend a whole lot of time. You guys have been like amazing. And we're going to be back here next week. And we're going to have a whole lot to talk about next week on the predisposing patients. And then we're going to be getting into the initial visit and the report of findings and how important that is. And like I said, I wanted to roll out the how to hire, how to train, care calls, getting people back in. I set it up this way to try to give some people some help initially, right at the moment. But now next week, we're going to start building on creating those best patients and what our role is in the practice. You're going to have new procedures. I have them all ready for you guys. You're going to have procedures that you will be changing and following and how you do things in the practice. You will have to explain to your chiropractor on a lot of this stuff that this is what we're doing now. We're going to change it this way. So next week's going to be learning a lot of things that are going to take some action in the practice. Okay. So no questions. I'm great. That's your test. That right there is golden because you know what? Mostly everything when I didn't know like a lot about the details of chiropractic, how it worked, I spoke from my own experience to patients, and I still do. I still, and that's something you're going to tell. Your testimony is going to be to every patient who comes in. Veronica, that's the best, because they want to see that you believe in it as well, and you use it and it worked for you. I mean, absolutely tell your patients about your experience, and especially the patients that are feeling sciatic or low back pain or whatever. You can say, I get regular adjustments. And that's something else I want to explain to you too, because just for newer assistants, is that like I will tell patients too, like, even though I get adjusted doesn't mean I don't have things happen or go on, like happen to me. And that's why I continue it, to prevent it, but I can have situations, but I go right to my chiropractor and they fix it like that because of all of my other adjustments in previously. So that's educating the patient. That's education. When you talk to a patient to say, I know the other day I was having some numbness in my leg or my low back, and I went into my doctor and he adjusted me right away, and it's gone like that. That's fantastic. That you could tell everybody that every single day who comes in your practice.
It's possible that it's gone because of that.
Yep, it is. And I'm sure it's with other things you've done as well, but it really, really can. It can do so many things. And you sharing your own story with your patients is the best. That is the best education you can give to patients, is telling people, sharing what you've experienced, if you want to. But I share everything with the patients, like of things that I go through. And like I said, an injury, I've told so many patients, especially new patients, that like I said, I didn't understand it. I didn't know I had ear infection. I was, expecting. I didn't know what to do. They told me I was going to have surgery on my ear. I saw this chiropractor, that I'm working with, adjusted me. I've never had an ear infection since. Never. And I did not have to have that surgery. But I have never had an ear infection or a problem with that. I had a hole in my eardrum when I was a kid. And that's when I got pregnant, I started having ear infections. And I had the medical system was going to have me have surgery after I had the baby. I was upset. I was calling my mother, went to the chiropractor. That was it. Never had any surgery, never had to do anything, and I've never had an ear infection since. If you have that board in your practice, you can put that on the board, your story. You can definitely do that. You can put it on your website, but 100%, if you're comfortable with telling your story, share that with your patients, because that's another way that you're explaining to them all the chiropractic can do and that you believe in it. And it's chiropractic talk other than some other talk. Do you know what I mean? That's a better conversation for you to be having with the patients, rather than them just talking about, stresses of the day or, things like that. But that's great news. I'm so happy for you. I'm so, so happy for you. That is excellent news. Really good news. That's so good though. But I mean, that's the full extent, right, of chiropractic care. Again, that I feel that a lot of assistants don't know, because how would they know until they were taught or learned or saw? I learned so much from the patients that came in, right? That's when I was working and somebody would come in, I would see that through their health history, like something like yourself. And the doctor might say, yeah, she was diabetic, or her blood pressure's down because she's off of blood pressure medication, because, the little boy doesn't have to get tubes now because he's seen me. And I'm like, this is fantastic. So that's how I learned. That's how I learned so much. But we have to share this with patients so that they understand all that it can actually do. Yeah, so I do a lot of that conversation, and like you're so new to chiropractic, that having that ability to that's a great thing. And that's how I started sharing with the patients and explaining to them. That would be something they would never have known. Like I said, most patients come in for pain relief. Even if they already know a lot about chiropractic care and they're coming in like regular, they come in for themselves. They just walk through that door, pay, go in the room, adjustment, out. They're coming in for them. They're not aware all the time of the whole scope of all that it can do, right? And we do fall into that because we're happy to have them. They walk in, pay, get adjusted, make appointment, and leave. They're great. But and we're happy to have them, but we have to continue to remember to educate and keep that in our surroundings, and that this is our conversations of chiropractic's a lifestyle. It's forever. It promotes this, it helps that, it does this. It's, you know, all of these things. I often make the joke, you know, because patients, I love when I go and jump in a room, if we have a minute and I do need an adjustment and the chiropractor adjusts me, and then patient comes in and nobody's out, you know, so I'm not there or somebody's not there, or it's around lunchtime or something. And I'll come out of the room and say, sorry, I was just getting my adjustment. And they're like, you get adjusted too? Like, that blows my mind that they don't know. Like, I'm mad at myself. I'm like, how does this person not know? Like, so, but it's a great opportunity that I say, oh, of course I do. I get adjusted regularly. My children have been adjusted since they were born. And why do your kids get adjusted since they were born? I'm like, well, this is why. Because this, and that, you know, it's for prevention. And my kids have never been sick. My son was like 18 getting his wisdom teeth out. And the dentist kept saying, are you allergic to this? Are you allergic? And we were like, we don't know. I don't know. We don't know. And the dentist was so frustrated with us because they were like, thought we were like, come on now. And I'm like, we don't know. He's never had anything. And he was just blown away that at 18 years old, he had never had any kind of like infection, antibiotics, never. I'm like, nope, never. And he's like, that's impossible. And I'm like, no, we get adjusted. See a chiropractor. He has since he was born. You know, and I'm a good mom. I raised him well. I took good care of him, but he ate well and exercised, you know, all these things. But I mean, people don't realize that. They just do not know. And there's a very, you know, educated other dentist that's like, what? Never heard of that. I had one son break his wrist and we were at the hospital. And before we went, I ran home. I literally did. My kid broke his wrist in a hockey game. And I stopped at the house to get trauma care. And I gave it to him like liquidly in his mouth. And we went, because I knew we'd be sitting in the waiting room forever to get in to see the doctor, because it was just a break, right? And by the time we got in there and they took the x-rays, they were stunned at how little inflammation there was in the wrist. They were like, who took care of it? And I said, I gave him trauma care. It's a natural anti-inflammatory. I gave it to him right away. And he was like, I want to know the name of this thing. So the doctor in the emergency room was like writing down trauma care. And I said, yeah. And he goes, it's got to be that because there's so little, you know. I said, well, we iced it, but I gave him the natural anti-inflammatory right away. I said, my chiropractor's on his way to adjust his neck, like to at least give him a neck adjustment to, you know, because he was kind of in a bit of shock. And honestly, the chiropractor walked right into that emergency room, came in the room with us and gave him a cervical adjustment on his neck, and had all the trauma care and stuff with it, more of it for us. And the doctor in there was just like, what the heck is happening? And I said, I want his body to heal right away. Like, I want him to start healing. So, and in 4 weeks, he was, they were stunned. Within 4 weeks, his wrists, like he broke both of his wrists. And within 4 or 5 weeks, he was back on the ice. And honestly, they would x-ray him constantly to see, and they were healing. And they were like, I've never seen anybody heal so quick. And I was like, chiropractic, trauma care. And he had youth on his side, but, you know, and like I said, we have to educate patients on that sort of thing, of all the chiropractic can do, so they get the idea of the lifestyle, right? Keep that stay. We got to keep the stay and make sure we do it for ourselves as well, right? Stay aware of our own well-being, practice what we preach because we're important, and definitely share. I listen, that's why I say I can get, like, if I go to a practice to consult and the chiropractor is trying to teach this, wants the assistants to ask for referrals, I'm like, I don't get the problem. I get them at the grow. I get 5 referrals. I could walk out my door right this moment, and I bet I could book 5 appointments. But that's because I love chiropractic. I know what it does. I understand it, and I can articulate it. So when you have all those things, you know, it's easy to say it, talk about it. People in the convenience store, I'm in a lineup, I hear somebody complaining about something, and I'm like, you know, a chiropractic will do this, this, and this, and this for you. Just letting you know. Like, I have I do it all the time, you know, because I'm doing it to help people. I want people to be better. I don't want this guy to go, you know, sit in an emergency room, get an anti-inflammatory, a muscle relax. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can do that if you want, but just go see a chiropractor. They'll tell you if it's anything bigger that they think they can't help you with, they'll send you where you should. But they're like, really? So it's about educating people to understand that it's maintenance and staying, but work on your own patients that you have, work on what you have. Don't worry so much about the referral end of the pay stay. Get that pay stay, get your pay stay, and then your referral is going to come. Okay. So that's it, because, you know, Miss Lydia's got things to do. Yeah. So I feel it, but you know what, like I said, people say to me all the time, I don't know how you do it all, but you know, and I will always make the joke, and I say, it's a good thing I love what I do, because I really, really love what I do. It's just, I think it's important what we do, and the people we help. And like I said, when you come from a stance of sharing your own story with people and understanding that you're really the best, you could be the best thing to happen to them that day, and you're really changing people's lives with what it is that we do, then it's really easy to it's really easy. It's not work, you know. My fear is that there's so many assistants out there feeling like it's work, and it doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't. You can be happy going in every day, helping people get the care they need, feel good going home that you've done your job, you know. But yeah, go and enjoy the weekend. I get Sundays off, and I'm going to finish my home office. I can't wait. That's a sad state when I can't wait to go paint something for weekend, everybody. Okay. And next week, we're going to talk about predisposing new patients. Lots of work. So rest up. Congratulations, Veronique.
Thank you,
guys.
Take care.
Have a nice week.